What's poppin'? Got a little bit of a different video for you today, and it's one that I'm not really used to doing, but bear with me. But I did want to give my personal thoughts and opinions on the new Pro controller that Sony released, and I wanted to talk about its personal effect that it's had for playing Destiny in specific, but it could, translate to other games just as easy. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the bumpers on the back. Obviously, that's like the big selling point for some people. That's what most people think about when they're talking about Pro controllers is the bumpers on the back. But as I've come to learn, and if you've watched any review for this controller, even if you didn't use the bumpers at all, like you tried using them and you never got used to them, you didn't like it, and you just decided to never use the bumpers, it's still worth buying this controller. There is so much more that this controller does than is that first meets the eye. And the first thing I want to talk about is the analogs. These are replaceable. They give you controller comes in this sleek looking case right here. It's very nice looking. It comes with two different styles or lengths of these round analogs. They're nice and round. If you like them, by all means use them. I personally like the base ones because I can sit my Control Freak right down on there and I've had no problems with it. And it also has a variation of the back bumpers that's just this short button. And I don't like it because your fingers kind of sit up and it feels a little awkward and they're a little uncomfortable, but if you have shorter hands, it might work better for you. But if you wanted to replace any of the sticks, they pop off, boom, like that, super easy. And the nice thing about them coming off like that is if you needed to clean them, you can do that. And if you use Control Freaks like I do, you can sit that on there while it's off the controller so much easier, and you don't got to worry about damage anything. And you can make sure that the connection for that analog to the Control Freak is nice and snug and secure, so you don't risk it popping off while you're using it at all. So let me go ahead, and popping it back on is simply just finding the right spot, and then you'll hear a click and you're mint. Next thing I want to talk about is the trigger stops. They have trigger stops, and switching the setting for them is super easy. So they have these sliders on the back. If you go up, the longest one, longest setting, and if we go all the way down, nice and short. I personally like it right in the middle. I don't like the shortest option. I like having a little bit of pull, but it has been nice. The other thing that I should bring up that is, it's the reason I bought this controller. I wasn't planning on buying this, but the reason I bought this is because of this. So if there's a little slide on the back, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's right above this plug-in, and it pops off this front panel, nice and easy, comes off, it's super easy. But if you can see here, these analog sticks are removable. You slide this silver thing up, stick comes out, so if you get stick drift stuff, anything like that, it costs 20 bucks to buy a new one of these, and you're right back where you were. You don't have to buy a whole new controller or make a attempt at soldering a new analog in there. It's nice, quick, and easy, and it's only 20 bucks, and that was the whole reason I bought this controller in the first place, was that. So that alone is like a huge bonus for buying this controller, and it's a very good reason to buy it to begin with. But there is one feature to this that I didn't even think about, but it has made a world of difference in my gameplay for Destiny 2. And I'm going to go ahead and switch to the other screen now. And the difference is, if I go into this menu, you have, I know you can't really see it because my camera's in the way, but you have 4 different presets you can use. And if I go into these presets, you see you have a stick sensitivity and dead zone. And obviously you can adjust that. But this right here, this is the main like gameplay changing feature, in my opinion, of this controller, is you can individually set different kind of sensitivity curves for each one of your analog sticks. So if you look here, my left stick, it has this little bottom left box that shows you how the controller outputs the whatever signals it's sending. But if you look at this little circle on the right here, you'll notice as soon as my analog input, which is the white dot, gets to a certain point, it immediately sends out the maximum input once it gets past a certain point, regardless of which direction I'm putting. So as soon as I get to that threshold, it's at max. And you can adjust the curves up or down, but I have it like this because your movement is so much faster and so much snappier in game. It's crazy. And then for my right stick, my aim stick, I was originally just going to keep it on default, but I tried out this quick and it has been so nice. This little bit of boost that you get early on in the stick, so if you see where the blue circle's at and my white, that's the input and that's what the controller's sending. it is so nice, and it gives you that little bit of boost in the gunfight. So if someone jumps real quick or shoulder charges or makes like some kind of aggressive movement, it makes tracking that so much easier, and you can really lock down on your aim, because that little help, that little boost in your input, it kind of overrides the aim assist, so you can control stuff better. Now granted, it'll come with time if you're not used to it. So I'm going to hop into game here, and I'm just going to go to a private lobby and kind of explain how the controller feels, and then I'm going to throw some gameplay on afterwards and try to explain over that how the controller is helping me out and the changes. But that curve sensitivity it's so nice. So while this is loading in, I should mention I do play on 18 look sensitivity with a 0.6 ADS sensitivity modifier, and how you use this controller might vary depending on like what sensitivities you use and whatnot. But the nice thing is even if you are running this quick sensitivity curve and you notice that you're over adjusting or it's over correcting your aim too much, you can adjust how aggressive the curve is. So you can just come down here, and I know you can't see it because it's behind my camera, but if I lower it, that curve gets almost unnoticeable. The change that you get from it is unnoticeable. And if you go like really aggressive, it'll be more noticeable. So you can really adjust it, and it's super easy to, like, you can die because you over adjusted, you missed your shot, and you can literally, before you even respawn back in game, you can open up this menu, change it, and be back. It's so easy to go in and out of this menu. It's boom in the menu, boom, oh, almost, boom, oh, out of the menu. So I'm gonna run up here. I'm gonna showcase the movement. So let's say you were holding this pillar, right? I'm going to go ahead and switch to a different profile, and that's how easy it is to change profile. It's minty. So this is like a basic controller now. This is basically like a regular controller. So if you were peeking this, you can see the strafe is what you expect to see every day if you play regularly. It's nothing crazy. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch to the different preset that I have set up, and you can tell, I can tell at least, it's faster. And when you're using a controller, you'll definitely be able to tell if it's faster. So even if you can't tell from this little tidbit, it definitely does help. And the other thing that's nice is that having that little more juice on the aim stick is if you're aiming here and you get flicked somewhere faster, it is a lot more responsive. It has made sniping easier. It has made using hand cannons easier. It has made tracking with full auto weapons easier. The only thing that's kind of like iffy at the start is when you're using something long range like a pulse or a scout rifle, you'll notice that you might overcorrect or you might aim too far. But as you get used to it over time, you'll kind of adjust to it. And if it's too aggressive, by means you can just turn the sensitivity curve down, or if it's not giving you enough juice and you want it to give you more juice, you can crank it up. So it definitely has, like, it has made everything feel so crisp and so responsive. It's unreal. So now I'm going to switch to some gameplay and try to explain over it the difference it's making in my gunfights and whatnot, and how it helps me play the game.
Bro, niggas really just wander around with that.
Alright, so in this clip, I take that gunfight and I hit a little crouch, and then I start my movement to my right, and it's so aggressive because it's at maximum input the moment my analog hits that he misses his shot. Ain't no way.
Opponent claimed Zone A. Keep the pressure on. It's almost over. Good counter. Now hit them again.
Alright, so this clip here is to show how snappy the aim is, that little boost that I was talking about with the aim profile. So as soon as I see this guy on the right here, boom. It's like a flick almost. And then I try to keep tracking him, and another one shows up on the right, flick over to him as well. Simple as that. Alright, so this clip is another one showcasing the movement. Granted, I could have peeked this a little bit better, but my movement changes directions at just a tiny bit faster rate that people are used to, that their shots miss. Now, he could have just missed his shots because of that, but I think the movement is definitely there. Which way are you going to peek from, my guy? And then this one is to show the snappy aim again, and even though you have that boost on the higher input, you still have that precision around the middle of the controller because it doesn't affect that at all. So I'm able to snap to this guy up here, then I snap to him, and then do a small adjust to hit headshots. And that's pretty much it. And that's pretty much it. My final thoughts on the controller itself is it's definitely worth it. The sheer amount of customizability this controller provides to Destiny 2 or outside of that, any game that you're playing at all is really fantastic. And if any of you are watching and you have bought this controller yourself and you really like it, or you've suddenly run into early problems with it, feel free to comment down below, and then maybe in the future I'll do a follow-up review after I've put a lot more time into it, and maybe I'll find some issues with it, or maybe everything will work out great. But that's pretty much everything I've gotten to say about this controller itself, and I'm really enjoying it. Thanks for watching. See ya.